Here we are. Hello and welcome to Story Hour. I'm Kathryn Ramsperger, author of the award-winning The Shores of Our Souls, now recognized by 3 national literary organizations, 1 public library, the DC Library, and an international book club picked by the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club. And 1,000 Flying Things is on its way. I'm also a coach who founded Ground One and created Step Into Your Story. I'm here to connect people, both readers and writers, who love books. I concentrate mainly on transformational stories of social justice that focus on the connections and sometimes disconnections between people. And I just want to give a shout out and a huge thank you to Kaylee Mullis, who was here with me for almost 2 years and is now at her new exciting job that is the start of an amazing sustainability career, Kaylee Mullis. If you see Kaylee around, please thank her. And today we're catching up with acclaimed author Kathleen M. Rodgers and my dear friend. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you, Kathy. 2 chatty Kathys here today.
2 chatty Kathys, kindred spirits in the chat. So, Kathy, in our last story hour chat, which was right before Cutterbucks came out, we spoke about your upcoming book, and that turned into The Flying Cutterbucks, which has over the course of the year garnered many awards and much reader praise, including the Pulpwood Queen Book of the Year and being a WILLA Award finalist. So I want to congratulate you.
That's the WILLA, and I'm still flabbergasted about the Book of the Year with Pulpwood Queens, Timber Guys, Reading Nation.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful and so well deserved, I might add,
Well,
because it's your 4th book. So,
yes.
Can you tell us, because this is what we all want to know, how it feels to be such an overnight success? And I'm joking, everybody. But Kathy, can you tell us about that journey from getting your first novel published, or even before that, when I was reading your articles in Family Circle, to now?
So if I don't mind telling my age, I'm 63. I started my writing journey 48 years ago last night at the age of 15 in Clovis, New Mexico. I have to tell you, every acceptance, every award, every being a finalist, every one of those is a victory, because I used to joke, now that I'm a Pulpwood Queen and a Book of the Year, but I used to joke that I was the queen of rejection, because, oh my gosh, years and years ago, newspapers, magazines, I just stayed with it. I always wanted the national magazine credit. And it took a cover story in Military Times to get the interest of the editors in New York at Family Circle. I picked up the phone out of the blue back in those days and called the switchboard.
Wasn't that nice when we could do that?
But it's definitely not overnight. And I'm working on my 5th novel, and I'm still trying to figure out how to write. Seriously, I joke about it, but I'm not really joking.
Well, every book is different. Every book is different. Every blank page is different, for that matter.
Yes, and I still can't spell, but
I disagree. I beg to disagree. So a couple times on my days when I felt like, where is my next step, like searching through the labyrinth of the publishing world, you sent me this twice, and I wanted to read it. It's from the Texas Monthly, and it's about Grover Lewis. And it says, quote, Grover Lewis died on the upswing, out from under the publishing world's manhole cover. he went out a writer, unsung perhaps, but it was in the writing and not the applause that he found where he belonged. Chills. It just gives me chills every time.
Thank you, Kathy, for reading that. I found that in a Texas Monthly article years ago. Cut it out. It kept me going through all the years I was working on my first novel, The Final Salute, 16-year effort, all the rejections. It just kept me going. And I just love it. And I'm so proud that you read that. And Grover Lewis, wherever you are up there, your name's still being sung here in Texas and now across the nation on Story Hour.
I like to think he's looking on with great pride, and also it sounds like he had a funny bone, and so maybe smiling. And I also like to think they're our muses, right?
Yes.
They get to watch on as we write. And by the way, you've been inspiring me for some time, because
Thank you.
I don't think it was long from your first Family Circle article, but I was no longer struggling with an eating disorder, but I had one in my early 20s.
Right.
There was a lot of preoccupation from men about body back then.
Mhm.
And I didn't know whether I could get pregnant or not, because that would mean I would gain weight.
Wow.
And I read that article when I was in Geneva. It was a British edition with the S's instead of the Z's.
I just
I
love
wish
that.
I'd saved it, but I just thought, if she can do it, I can do it too. Look at those beautiful children.
The US edition came out, I believe, was it July 1994? I had no idea who you were. You were living in
I had
Geneva.
no idea who you were either.
And then we became
A
friends.
beautiful woman in a picture. That's all I knew.
Oh gosh, I was in my 30s then. Our good friend Johnny Bernhard connected us in 2015. And one day you and I were chit-chatting, and one thing led to another. And that's when you told me you read my Family Circle article. That was my third article I sold to them. I sold 6 major feature stories to them over a 10-year period. Not as much as some writers, but oh my gosh, I'll take it. But I was shocked when you're like, I read your story way, way back and it helped me.
It totally helped me. So you said it was July 94?
I think it was the US edition was July 1994.
Guess what month I got pregnant?
What month? July?
March 95. And
oh my gosh,
you have to try a little bit when you're 36 years old. It doesn't just like happen the first
well, I
time.
can't take credit for that, but
well, thank you. I wouldn't want you to. So I would love to hear about your feelings when that email came in that you were a WILLA finalist, and then almost immediately after, from what I hear, that you were Book of the Year recipient.
Okay, so the WILLA finalist email came through on a Sunday at the very end, no, August 1st. And I saw the email. I didn't believe that it had anything to do with me. And the WILLA Literary Award is named after Willa Cather, and it's the top award through women writing the West. I saw the email. I thought, oh, that's the email that's going to go out announcing the winners, the finalists. And I put my phone down for a little bit and I thought, okay, I better go back. I want to see who's on there. And when I got to the second line, it said, if you are, reading this, you are either you won the award or you're a finalist. I'm like, shut up. I put the phone down. Put the phone down for the second time because I was in the middle of talking to someone and I didn't want to be rude. And I sat there for like a minute. I'm like, oh my gosh, wait. Picked up that phone and I finally just said, oh, well, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be rude. Will you excuse me a minute? I have to read this. I was shocked. And I couldn't tell anybody. We couldn't announce for like 2 days. But I have to tell you, I'm still so honored, and I have to show it again. I'm so proud to be a WILLA, the WILLA Award, a literary award
Here's the
finalist.
book. Here's
Okay, for the Flying Cutterbucks. And I've read 3 Willa Cather novels now, and Santa, with the name Willa, gave me 3 more novels. So I've got those to read down the road. But I've learned so much from Willa Cather. And then several weeks ago, I got an email one day, and it was from Kathleen M. Murphy. She's the founder of the International Pulpwood Queen Timber Guy Book Club. And I got the email, and it was to me and to Judith Little, author of the Chanel Sisters. And it was a secret at the time. The email from Kathy said that we both tied for the top award for the Pulpwood Queen Timber Guy Reading Nation for Book of the Year. And my first thought was, oh gosh, they've got me confused with another Kathleen. And I read far enough into the email. Kathy had included her. That's another Kathy. Hey,
Yeah.
Kathy L. Murphy. And she left her phone number in case we had any questions. And I immediately picked up the phone and called her and asked her, and she just kind of laughed. And then I couldn't tell anybody. I had
don't know how you did that. I don't know how you did
this
that.
secret until the award ceremony online Sunday night, January 16th. You didn't know, none of my best girlfriends,
I
good guys.
suspected as time went on.
Yeah.
But you were wonderful keeping that secret. I just had a feeling because it's such a good book. So when we last met, and
Mhm.
thank you, I felt the same way just from being a bonus book. They are such an amazing group
Yeah.
of women and men, and Kathy and Mandy have such incredible, excellent taste that when Kathy told me out of the blue one day that I would be a bonus, she didn't say bonus. She said, you're on the list.
And there's your first novel, The Shores of Our Souls, which I endorsed.
You did. It's on the
Keep
back.
talking, I'm sorry.
And I'm still pinching myself. I'm still pinching myself. And
Don't blame you. Yes.
it's gotten other attention, but this is really that, and the Forward Indies that we shared an honorable mention in Forward Indies for me for multicultural fiction, and you for
War and Military for 7 Wings to Glory, my 3rd novel. And that was 2017, and Forward Reviews treats their honorable mention right there with gold, silver, and bronze. So the honorable mention is one of the awards. And yeah, we both won that award 2017.
And we talked more then. So I want to definitely get to the Pulpwood Queens. I call them extravaganzas, but I want to read a few words of my review because I didn't get that done because your book wasn't launched yet last time.
Oh, that's right.
Kathleen Rodgers turns family saga and crime thriller on edge in her portrayal of 4 independent women who defy the odds of a traumatic life. Trudy returns to her small hometown after a failed marriage and career as a flight attendant to find it and herself changed but full of memories. Trudy, with the help of her tight-knit family, has survived the death of a father, a brother, sexual assault, stillbirth, and an abusive relationship. Yet it's an election that triggers her to delve into shared family secrets and the specter of violence that haunt them.
Ooh.
Such a survivor Trudy is.
Yeah.
I compare your voice to Barbara Kingsolver and Fannie Flagg, especially Fannie Flagg. And I say some political novels have an agenda or message they want to make sure the reader understands. Yet this book is not didactic. Instead, it's a beautiful treatment of how the macrocosm affects the microcosm, how the political affects the personal, and vice versa. It's about how we all have a voice to speak our truth, and we are all free to live the lives we desire if we can heal and forgive individually and communally. It took immense courage to write a novel like this one. I can think of no more timely novel right now. I ask you to read this book, no matter what your political stance. Open your heart to hearing the stories of the Cutterbucks.
Oh, thank you. Aunt Star
And Star.
is smiling at you now. When Aunt Star came to me, she's 81. When she came to me and told me all of her secrets, she helped me find my courage. She helped me find the courage to give to Trudy Cutterbuck, who is a reluctant activist, her sister Georgia, their mother Jewel, and the family best friend, Loopy Boleyn, who owns Loopy's Diner in town. I know you said that was one of your favorite characters.
I think Loopy is my favorite character you've ever written.
I love that. And then I've also heard from a few women that they love Clay. I call it Cordova, but I think it can also be pronounced Cordova. But he's a detective on the Pardon Mexico police force.
So I want to say that we're getting some comments. Debbie Thomas says loved her, and I think she's talking about Loopy, but she might be talking about the book in general, maybe Trudy.
Or Aunt Star.
Tell us, Debbie, tell us who you're saying loved her about. Denise Burt says, beautiful review. The Flying Cutterbucks is a fabulous read that I'll never forget. Mandy is here. Thank you, Mandy.
Oh, and we have to give Mandy Haynes a plug that okay. Hey, Mandy, Executive Director of the Pulpwood Queen Timber Guy Book Club. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I think I speak for both of us for everything Mandy has done for every single Pulpwood Queen and Timber Guy this year. It's not just us. It is an amazing, amazing book club. And congrats, first of all, on winning bonus book of the month for last year and having the main selection for this year be Works in Progress.
Yay, Mandy.
So the back cover reads, have you ever finished a book and wondered what made the author think of that? Or wondered if there was a chapter in the original manuscript that didn't make it through the final edits? Maybe you'd like to take a sneak peek at what an author is currently working on. Works in Progress includes 59 excerpts from some talented authors' works in progress in different stages of the writing process, followed up with the story behind the story of the piece and the story behind the author who wrote it. And there are 59 represented here. That's why it's thick. And this is Mandy's creation.
Yes.
We wrote the words, but she did the editing. There is an introduction by Leslie Lair. There is an afterword by Jonathan Hoft. And it's just a beautiful book, full of stories, and stories are so amazing when you don't have you don't have a second and you just want your heart to be at rest and at peace, or to rev it up for that matter.
And can I give a shout out to and Mandy's a miracle worker, a shout out to Janet Oakley, whose novel The Quisling Factor was the International Book of the Year.
I'm going to have her on soon. I am in the works. So Debbie says it was Aunt Star.
Aunt Star. Okay. Yay, Debbie. Yeah, she's one of my favorite. I think Aunt Star's my favorite character, but I will say I did love Zia, the dog, when Zia appeared.
I know you have a lot of animals in your books, and I
And the
don't.
cat,
All my
Mr.
animals in my
Grumpus.
books are wild animals, actually. They're
And,
beautiful.
and for all the cat lovers out there, Mr. Grumples makes his debut. That's Aunt Star's cat. And Mr. Grumples is a feminist.
Okay, so Denise says, Clay. And Johnny, hi, Johnny. Johnny Bernhardt says, love the end of the Twirler Girl. And
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for reminding me about chapter 2. Twirler Girl, Kathy remembered that too. I needed to hear that the other day. Thank you.
And Denise says, yay, I just received works in progress today. Work in progress.
Good deal.
Today, what a special book this is. It is a special book. Everything about Pulpwood Queens Timber Guys is special. I don't know anything that isn't. So everybody, please feel free to keep commenting. Feel free to ask questions about either of us, our backstories, our books, and we're going to keep going with our chat.
And I want to give a shout out to Pulpwood Queen author Joy Ross Davis for sharing the invite today. Thank you, Joy, if you're out there.
Thank you, Joy. So I said it took courage to write this book. How does it feel to know that a story is so hard to tell? And I know because I would talk to you during, as you worried your characters into being, as you call it.
Yes.
Story so hard to tell emotionally is transforming people's ideas about family secrets and about sexual predators.
It feels wonderful. I learned years ago as a writer, even long before I became a traditionally published novelist, I had to learn how to take risk, because if I wanted to get anywhere with my writing, I had to take risks. And, you know, that's writing about stuff that makes you uncomfortable. Like in my third article, Family Circle. Who wants to hear about bulimia? It's not glamorous. You know what? I was the expert on it because I struggled for 15 years. When that article came out in 1994 to millions of readers and had no idea Miss Kathy there was reading it in Geneva, that article
with her own personal story that was similar. Yeah.
Helped me find my courage. I went and talked to two of my ministers at my Methodist church, one a man, one a woman at that time. I said, I'm getting cold feet. Of course, it was too late. It was fixing to hit the newsstands, and, you know, everywhere. And Mary Fortner was our associate pastor at the time, and she held my hand in an empty sanctuary. And she said, Kathy, remember, you are stepping out in faith. And I decided stepping out in faith, that became my mantra. My mantra for helping me with bulimia all those years ago was 2 steps forward, 1 back. You take 2 steps forward, you mess up, you take a step back, you pick yourself up and keep going. But taking risk is part of, it's scary. But oh my gosh, the kind of books I want to write, they do require courage, because I want to tackle subjects that get swept under the rug, shut away in a closet. Let's open that closet door, let the fresh air in, and those boogie monsters sometimes aren't quite as scary once we get a little light on them.
I totally agree.
Kind of a scuttle and hide, just like some of the predators out there. And even
and that they
can
feed off of that silence.
Yes.
So
and I don't want, and some, I think about all the women and some men who've been abused. Oh my gosh, who have died over the years, over the centuries. Their stories were never told. And all those predators, male or female, you know, they've long gone and they got away with it. I decided in the Flying Cutter.
My opinion about whether they really got away with it or not.
Well, Cousin Dub.
But here they did.
We're not going to say any more about Cousin Dub, except It was fun. It was fun when Twirler Girl took action.
Yay, twirler girl. So I came out of the closet on Tuesday or Wednesday last week by saying that a real person inspired shores.
Oh,
And so I totally agree. I was writing a book, a novel about keeping secrets from each other, and I didn't ever consider I was keeping the person himself a secret, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought I was. And it's had a phenomenal reaction that it was a real story and authentically happened to me. The plot, like I said in my presentation, is pure fiction, not a member of parliament, none of that. But the love is real. And that's what unconditional love is.
Can I read? It's just the first line. I endorsed your novel years ago. This is for Shores of Our Souls. I just want to read one line from my endorsement. A stunning debut novel that enlightens and entertains. This well-written tale deftly shifts back and forth in time and place as cultures clash and two lost souls look for love and acceptance in a world that wants to keep them apart. And let me know if I can say something about A Thousand Flying Things released.
I'd love for you to. You know, it won't be out till the end of the year, but
Okay.
I this way people know it's real, that I really wrote it.
So I loved Kathy's The Shores of Our Souls. So if you want to, the sequel is A Thousand Flying Things. Oh my gosh, when you asked me to read it for an endorsement, I was so honored. And I'm not going to read the whole endorsement that I've already sent in, but I'm going to read just a few lines. And listen up, everybody. When A Thousand Flying Things comes out, and I think it's Touchpoint Press is releasing it, I've seen the cover. It is amazing. Kathryn Brown Ramsperger raises the stakes in her compelling second novel, A Thousand Flying Things, a fast-paced tale that filled me with a sense of urgency and a longing that settled in my chest until I reached the end. A Thousand Flying Things follows The Shores of Our Souls, the first book in the series. Both stories are timeless and timely, but the second novel can be read as a standalone. Ramsperger has lived in the region she writes about, and she gifts us with this powerful novel that holds the capacity to offer hope and healing between people and cultures, like the soothing touch of a caring soul.
Thank you. Thank you. It really
And
means
the male love interest is not bad.
the word you said was yearning. I love that word. So, and there are secrets that are revealed in this second novel, but it's definitely a standalone. I worked really hard to make certain that if you hadn't read the first, you would still be immersed in the second. So thank you for that endorsement.
Oh, yes. And I just again, I can't wait for that one to come out. And I will help you promote it. I love the cover. It's awesome. It's breathtaking.
Thank you. I wish I could show it. It's
okay.
It's an amazing designer. I will give her a shout out. Estella Vukovic. And she is half Croatian. And you know, they have that kind of divide in that country as well.
Yes.
And half, she's from Zagreb, and half Australian. So, and she has the most adorable daughter. I have to say that too. So she's designed both covers and she's immensely talented. So let's talk a little bit about we've talked about your characters. Did they evolve as you wrote? Because I want to ask a little bit more about worrying your characters into being. It fascinates me how characters take over a story. And
So, okay, are you talking about the Flying Cutterbucks?
any of them.
Okay, so if it's okay, can I just jump in?
Absolutely.
Chatty Cathy too. Um, so when I was beginning to write the Flying Cutterbucks, which the working title was called Little House of Shrines. I was trying to find Trudy Cutterbuck's voice. I knew she had retired as a flight attendant from Southwest, and she was in her late 50s, and that she left Dallas and headed back to eastern New Mexico to Pardon, where her mother Jewel lived, in a home filled with mementos over the decades since Trudy's fighter pilot father went missing in action in Vietnam, and her little brother Bogey died of a brain tumor in 1974. And then this dark thing happened later in 1974, and that's the secret. But I was trying to find who Trudy was. And now keep in mind, I've been living with one of my favorite characters, Johnny Kitchen, through the second novel, Johnny Come Lately, and the third novel, Seven Wings to Glory. And Johnny helped me find my courage as a writer, and Johnny empowered me to take even more risk once the Final Salute was out, originally published in 2008. And then Johnny Come Lately came out in 2015. So one day, I'll get to the point, I'm driving in my old Suburban down the road a few years ago, and I'm like, Trudy, who are you? And all of a sudden, I'm driving and I just start talking out loud, and I'm like, Johnny Kitchen, Johnny, I need you to help me find Trudy. You don't get to live in this new novel, but Johnny, please help me find Trudy's voice. And you know what? Oh my God. Trudy Cutterbuck started talking. So Johnny Kitchen, you don't get to live in any other novels, but you're still alive right here. And so is your chocolate lab brother dog and Ladybird.
Yeah.
So
What a beautiful
characters, they have to, I worry everything into being. It's hard for me to write a novel and read. Like some writers are so seamless. They can write for so many hours a day and then read other people's work at that night or whatever.
I have trouble too.
I will read, and then I will take chunks, and then I will write. And it's so, I'm like that with almost everything. I don't multitask well, but at my age, I'm finally learning to trust my process, and it's messy. My process is messy. I don't outline. I sort of have a feel for the end of the books. And yes, I have scribbled notes, but it's messy. And just like me, I'm messy, I'm chaotic, but that's the beauty of a novel. It's the only way I know how to frame and control crazy life. A novel is like a picture frame. And within that picture frame is where I take all that chaos and shape it and form it into a story.
Wow. Wow.
Sort of like making a meatloaf.
Well, it's a little bit more, I don't know. I think some people's meatloafs are works of art.
Oh, mine are ugly, but they taste good.
Everybody's meatloaf is different too. They're
Yes.
unique.
Absolutely.
Boy, I'm still like in that frame. So I know that I can't, I get into this story world and it's really hard for me to come out. I think my family thinks it's a form of insanity, frankly, but it's kind of like method acting because I'm in there with the characters and they're saying, now I do this and now I do that. I've been known to write things on my hand in very strange activities and places. And So I really resonate with that. And I'm not a good multitasker either. Um, so I want to get to the Pulpwood Queens events themselves. And by the way, everybody's wearing crowns and tiaras. I just realized that halfway in. That is why we're doing it, because the only rule in Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys is, and I'm going to say it wrong, that you have to bring your crown.
Yeah, tiaras mandatory.
That's it. And everything else, it's
hang
so
on.
inclusive.
Claire Fullerton gifted me with some leopard print leggings. So leopard print's also real popular because Kathy Murphy, and there you go, you've got your
Mine
leopard.
is a different color. It's a leopard of a different color.
Yeah. So before COVID, most of the Pulpwood Queen and now Timber Guy book club was in Jefferson, Texas. And a long time ago in another place, Kathy Murphy, she had Beauty in the Book, and it was the only beauty shop with a bookshop. And Kathy started, has it been 22 years? Kathy, I'm sorry.
Over 20, I think it's 22, but it might be 23.
I think it's 22. And she founded this book club after she went to a book club there in that area. And she was so excited when it was time to leave. I think Kathy asked about the next book club, and she was like, oh, you're just a guest here tonight. And she got in her car. You can imagine, like, you know, in other words, you're not going to become a member. And she got in her car, and I can't imagine how that must have just stung.
I can, because it's happened to me.
Right.
I have a neighborhood book club that said, you can't join, you're a writer.
Oh, or like, you know, we never got picked for the dodgeball team. No, really.
I didn't either.
Yeah. And so she's like, I'll start my own. And she did. And big time, Kathy Murphy's been on Oprah. Diane Sawyer, I believe, came out and did a show on her years ago. She's had everybody under the sun out there. And one of her favorites was Pat Conroy, you know, the Pat Conroy. And that's why she's really likes to really support the Pat Conroy Literary Center there in Beaufort, South Carolina, because Pat Conroy came to the Pulpwood Queens. And she also, Pat's widow, Cassandra King Conroy, a novelist in her own right, best-selling novelist. She was coming to the Pulpwood Queen conventions for a long time. But once COVID hit, Kathy Murphy had to switch gears. And last year we had that first ever Zoom-a-thon. And that's when Mandy Haynes volunteered to help her out. And then before Mandy Haynes knew it, she became the executive director. And then Mandy Haynes,
to us all, a gift to us all. Everything she does for us is volunteer. And frankly, everything Kathy does for us is volunteer.
And Mandy created Reading Nation magazine. She created this anthology. She's bringing all these authors and readers together. But
the only reason that Kathy and me, I think, but I don't know this for sure, the only reason Kathy and Mandy connected was through Mandy's beautiful collection of short stories that was a selection. I don't remember the month.
Was it Walking?
Sharp, I think Sharp as a Serpent's Tooth was the one.
Okay, and then also, and then Mandy's other.
I have Walking the Wrong Way Home. That's the one.
That's Mandy's other collection. And oh my gosh, she's a phenomenal writer.
She is. Gothic stories, authentic Southern voice. Makes me feel like I'm back on solid land in the South, and reminiscent of family for me. A lot of her stories, so well deserved, and all round. So tell us a little. I'd love for you to tell the story, not of how we met, but of our road trip, very quickly. which is in Reading Nation magazine this month.
Right, it's in the January.
Last month. Okay, this month.
Yes, in the January 2022 magazine. And thank you, Mandy Hayes, creator of the magazine, for including Kathryn Ramsperger's story. So I went to the 2019 by myself. Even though I was a published author, I went out there to support some other published authors, Johnny Bernhard, Claire Fullerton. And I met so many other writers. Barbara Claypole White and I knew each other online, and she was there in person. She endorsed my second novel, Johnny Come Lately. So we were jumping up and down. And then 2020 came around, and I think I convinced you and Joy Ross Davis, hey, you're up in Washington, D.C. area, Maryland. You got on an airplane, flew into DFW Airport. Joy got herself to an airport there, maybe out of Birmingham, Alabama, and flew into DFW. I rented a little car because my husband, when he retired from the airlines, we sold his little airport car. So we share. That's okay. I don't drive his Harley though. And so I rented a little rental, and I picked you up at your hotel near the airport because you came in early.
Mm-hmm.
We toured around downtown historic Grapevine, Texas for 3 hours, ate lunch. I showed you where I got all my ideas for my setting for my second and third novel. And I took you down all these streets and said, now just pretend you're in the novel. Then we drove out to DFW Airport. And yes, at the time, yes, my husband flew for the airlines for 23 years. You would think I'd have this all figured out.
Well, and there was weather coming in from all directions.
And we had one terminal. Now, anybody if y'all just flying to DFW and you sort of get off the plane and you change planes, but if you live in this huge Dallas, Fort Worth metroplex, DFW has its own zip code. It's like a city in itself. Well, we went to one terminal and we went round, you and me, round and round. No Joy anywhere. We're trying to text Joy.
I have no GPS in my brain, by the way.
Even with the GPS on. And then did we get a text? Oh, no. So I thought, well, we better go around one more time. I can't remember if we had heard from Joy or not at that point. Well, we got ourselves.
We hadn't heard from Joy yet because the plane was either delayed, right, or I'll let you keep going. She wasn't where she was supposed to. They told her, yeah.
Yeah, we're like, oh my God, what if we lose Joy and we get
out of the airport.
In my loop-de-loop around to get back to the same terminal because they wouldn't let us pull up. After 9/11, everything changed. Well, I get us accidentally into a parking garage. And you and I went round and round, and you didn't know I cursed until that day.
And I said, oh, good. Another reason that we're kindred spirits.
Finally, after God knows,
never heard a thing.
How many loops into that dark parking garage, I got us out. Oh my God, I think we held hands and jumped up and down. And then Joy texted us.
We're almost near tears. We were so happy to see her.
Then Joy texted and said, oh, she's into another terminal on the other side. We have to get back out, all these exits and ramps. And you know what? Because you were my navigator, pulled in there.
Navigator I was.
There's Joy standing there. We scooped her up and we trundle on down the highway to Jefferson, Texas, and the rain started, and the thunder, and the lightning. And I'm just driving that little pedal, little
fog too. There was fog coming.
It was dark when we pulled into Jefferson, but we did it. And we had a great weekend. You met all kinds of people. You got to meet Kathy in person. And I
got to see Claire Fullerton in person.
Oh,
I think I had known Claire almost as long as I had known you on the phone.
Right. You got to meet Claire in person for the first time. You met Joy in person.
I did.
Mm-hmm. And then we had the fabulous weekend. And then the drive back that Sunday, sunshine and blue skies and nonstop. All three of us talked all the way home. And I started bawling while I was driving, but it's okay.
Well, I don't think that I shed tears, but there's something when three writers work together and they have gotten close during a weekend. That's yet another benefit of that live.
I think we told stories, we shared secrets.
Oh, we did.
We cried. It was great.
Well, thank you for that. I wanted people to get a little flavor of it. And I would say that the Zoom week-long extravaganza is phenomenal. And it is still almost like you can reach out and touch some of the people that you haven't seen in the past year or two.
All kinds of authors at all levels of the business.
And you learn so much. And not but, we are really longing for the live and can't wait to see where and when. I am going to check for questions and comments one more time. I'll bet there are lots of them.
Oh, let me say also, there's also at those live events, oh my gosh, there are book clubs that are no writers in the book clubs, readers from so many different states that drive in. Some of those book clubs have been attending Kathy Murphy's events in person for over 2 decades. And then the readers are still, coming online now. And
Jacob's here. Jacob Marquez is here.
Oh, hi, Jacob.
A beautiful review. I'm going to say thank you, and you can say thank you too. And so does Noelle Puglisi. Noelle, so great to see you here. Let me just there are lots more.
Oh, there are. Hi, everybody. Anyways.
Oh, Denise, thank you. She says she can't wait to read both of my books. I can't wait. I will send you copies. 34 comments there. Hold on one more time. While I do this, Kathy, would you give us the honor of a sentence or two sneak peek about what you're working on right now?
Oh my gosh, I would be honored to. So I'm working on my 5th novel, set once again in eastern New Mexico, in the fictional town of Sand Hill, New Mexico. And I don't want to give away the title now because that's part of my secret and part of my magic, but it's a story grounded in reality and swimming with magical realism. If I could just go on my website real quick and read you a couple of lines. I apologize that I'm not prepared here.
Well, I didn't give her any advance notice. I was trying to be like my friend Laura Kemp and be very informal and not plan much.
Okay, right. Well, if I could type my own name in here and not.
Well, while you do that, while you search for it.
Here we go. I got it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's just a quick. Who's there?
You.
Real quick. So the 5th novel, set in a small town in eastern New Mexico, where water and opportunity are as rare as a mermaid sighting. 3 sisters and 2 friends form a secret club and dream of the ocean, but betrayal and broken promises threaten to tear everyone apart, and friendships and family bonds are tested. And this is a photograph I took years ago at the Blue Hole in Santa Rosa.
It's beautiful.
And if you look real closely, it almost looks like that could be a mermaid.
I think it might be. I think it might be. I think there's something to do with mermaids. And I think they might get there in a very interesting way.
And books and authors, the public library, a lovely librarian named Miss Mavis befriends the mother character, Letty Hubbard. Through books, Letty finds her way. Marigold is the protagonist. She's the middle daughter in the story. And it's a dual timeline, if you will. It takes place in the 60s, 70s, and 2017.
Can't wait. Really can't wait. The little bits I've heard about it are just, it- I- I'm gonna love it. Um, we talked about your award, Kathleen. We talked about Janet's, and she was International Book of the Year for The Quisling Factor. Judith Little, the Chanel Sisters, and Mandy Haynes, bonus book of the year for a collection of short stories, Sharp as a Serpent's Tooth. All right, so I think it's time that I shared my tea bag.
Your tea bag wisdom?
My tea bag wisdom. It's still going on. I love this one. Can you read it? I'll read it.
Read it.
The purpose of your life is to know yourself, love yourself, trust yourself, and be yourself.
Oh.
It's really perfect for our conversation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy.
So you can find Kathleen's work through her website, Kathleen, Kathleen, M as in Mike, Rodgers, RODGERS.com. You can find my work at shoresofourSouls.com, and you can find all of the 2022 book club selections of Pulpwood Queens at the pulpwoodqueens.com/book-club-selections. I'll put all of those links down below this chat.
Okay, good.
Any final words, Kathy?
Oh my gosh. I guess for me as a writer, I've got that at the top of my website. I came up with this about a year ago. I am always the daughter trying to write my way home. And if somebody said, well, what does that mean? What is home? For me, especially in the new book I'm writing, home are memories, because we can never really go home, even if it's still there. And some of the people,
Not the home we had.
yeah. And that, even that little simple line helps me find my courage and to take risk and to keep taking risk as long as I have a breath in me.
That is so beautiful. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
Could I just say real quick, everybody out there, and I bought so many friends' books, and oh my gosh, I'm a slow reader. I'm a slow writer.
I am too. We both apologize.
I'm just trying to read and pedal and stay on the bicycle.
And we have to you've heard the story through Kathy about, and through me, frankly, today, that it's a different part of our brains. I might be for all writers. That would be an interesting question for a panel, that writes than the person who reads. I do read as an editor, frankly. That's another reason I'm slow. I'm constantly going, well, that needs to be moved up here. People won't even send me their books after I hear that. But I'm not judgmental. But it's just the way your mind works. It's the left part of my brain. When I'm in that story world, it's the right part. And we so appreciate everybody out there, and our readers and other writers. Some of you writers out there, especially the ones I've had on, and many who have not had on, because there's only so much bandwidth in terms of this show and my ability to read 4 books a month.
Which is amazing to me, Kathy, that you're able to coach, ghostwrite sometimes, work on your own books, and have your show. I'm just lucky.
We'll see.
I'm just lucky.
I'm not
at 6 p.m. at night.
Well, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Sometimes I am, but sometimes I'm not. And we're
the same age, almost.
We are. I'm still older than you, but
just
not by much.
Just a few months.
So I value all of the readers and authors who tune in here. And I especially value you for coming today after so much notoriety, Kathy. I just know it's going to get better and better and better for you. And I'm honored to know you.
Oh, I'm honored to know you. Thank you for having me on today. Two chatty Kathys.
Here we are.
Thanks
So
to
everybody
everybody who came on.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody who came on and everybody who's listening later, and I know there will be more, you can join me here live every third Thursday at my Facebook page, and it's my author Facebook page, interviewing authors like Kathy. You can find all my interviews archived on my Facebook pages, and also I will have them on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and you'll be notified. And I will put the links to more about us in the comments. I will see you in February, and looking forward to seeing everybody again soon. Again, until then, this is Kathryn Ramsperger bidding you a nice, cozy place by the hearth, a great weekend with an even greater book to read. Thanks for joining us. Bye.